Brittany Griner was freed from a Russian labor camp in a prisoner swap with an arms dealer nicknamed the Merchant of Death. So we gave them the Merchant of Death. We got a WNBA player. Meanwhile, another American, Paul Whelan, formerly a Marine, still imprisoned in Russia. Here to weigh in, we're joined by economist and board member of Overseers, Stanford University, Hoover Institute, John Jordan. John, what are your thoughts on this Brittany Griner situation?
Well, this is a victory for Vladimir Putin. We're all glad to see Brittany Griner come home. But looking at the big picture here, this serves a couple of purposes for Putin. First of all, he's exchanging in what in Russian eyes is a little fish for a big fish. We're talking about 1 gram of hashish versus somebody who was an arms dealer over decades, who speaks 5 languages, and who allegedly also was a Russian GRU operative, and who the United States spent an enormous amount of effort to try to apprehend. He was even caught selling, moving in surface-to-air missiles and selling arms to those who would harm American citizens. So Putin will look for the Russian media, because I'll be watching tonight, so you don't have to, Bob, but be watching Russian media hype this up to bolster President Putin's standing at home when he needs it the very most.
Yeah, what exactly is that Russian media saying? How are they looking, or I should say positing, President Biden as weak?
Yeah, they've always done that. They see for domestic audience in Russia, they want to show President Biden as both evil and weak, depending on the narrative of the day. The Russian media hasn't really started chiming in on this yet, but they will, and they will use it to maximum effect to show that President Putin is a master deal maker and knows what he is doing. And this has helped pivot some of the attention away from some of the damage that he's taken in Russian eyes because of the outcomes in Ukraine.
All right, John, let's shift attention to another topic. You're a businessman. How's business? Because we're hearing from a bunch of people, it's getting bad out there. Real estate values are going down. We're seeing layoffs at especially a lot of tech companies. What's your experience and what are you seeing out there?
Well, as an economist, what we're seeing right now gives all appearances of being an inflection point in the economy. Wells Fargo and Bank of America's chief executives today said there was a significant deceleration in credit card transactions and that debit card transactions were actually flat. This is after they've been going up for about an 11% clip all year through October 31st. Also, we're starting to see, as you point out, we're starting to see layoffs. So you are starting to see what may be a tipping point in the economy. And as the pandemic aid starts to wear off, there's only about 1.5 trillion left of that in Americans' pocket. As those savings are expended and people start to look at future earning capacity and interest rates, 70% of the economy, which is of our gross domestic product, is the consumer. And when the consumer pulls back, you're going to start to see businesses pull back as well.
Yeah, we've been hearing a lot of corporate executives painting a grim image of the current state of the economy. And recently, while speaking at the Goldman Sachs Financial Services Conference, Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan says the rate of growth is slowing. Take a listen.
The evidence shows that, yes, the economy is being slowed by the higher interest rates, by the fact that the inflation is eating up more of a person's savings. They need to get that under control. That means higher interest rates, but on the other hand, you're seeing them slow down, which ought to put less price pressure. That means they could slow down. So that's going to be the debate. I think we need a few more months to see whether it's just a trend or not.
Yeah, John, I could tell you're about to say something there. Your reaction.
Yeah, I've spent some time with Brian Moynihan here at the winery, but basically banks are a leading indicator, and what banks see tells us kind of what's coming down the road, because they have real-time visibility into credit card transactions and enormously rich data pertaining to that. So they really see what the consumer trends are before other industries. And so in this case, it's not just B of A, it's Wells Fargo too. And so when they start to see consumer behavior changing, businesses in other sectors are going to see that too and start to pull back. And then you start that derogatory cycle which defines a recession. As people become pessimistic, consumers spend less, businesses become less pessimistic until there's some cause to reverse that. So that's kind of where in the business cycle we appear to be right now. And I think it's going to manifest itself at the end of the first quarter.
Manifest itself at the end of the first quarter, meaning we go into a recession there. That would be quite a change between now and then. because I presumed that there would be a lot of people losing their jobs because there are a lot of jobs out there, at least for now, and unemployment, like 3.7% is, as you know, typically considered something like full employment.
Yeah, absolutely. That these things do take time to wend their way through the economies, and it manifests itself in consumer sentiment and consumer behavior that is visible to other sectors of the economy. It's just that banks happen to see it before others do because of the nature of their business.
All right, John Jordan, thank you so much.
My pleasure. See you later, Bob.
So we had him on as a Russian expert and as an economist.
Seriously?
Yeah.
He speaks fluent Russion. He has a winery.
He was a Navy guy also.
What doesn't John Jordan
Intelligence.
do?
He was in naval intelligence.
Wow.
That's a show. It's like the John
Jordan show. And you drink wine while it's happening.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that part.
I'll be there.
I should have led with that.
I like